You're listening to the Fantasy Fling Podcast. Take a break from the season-long commitment and join us for a Friday fling as we give you the newest and hottest DFS deals, preview the DFS Main Slate, and take the dreadful walk of shame. Here are your hosts, Brandon and Eric.
Welcome back to the Fantasy Fling DFS Podcast. We are looking at the Week 11 Main Slate on Draft Kings. As far as cash games, we're going to jump into that first by looking at the chalkboard, and then going to give you my cash picks that I like for the week, and then jump into my GPP, making a Millie Maker picks of the week. So let's take a look. All right. So the chalkboard, the top 5 chalk positions are chalk players at each position, rather. Quarterback, Justin Fields, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, and Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins with Justin Fields at the top, about 12%. And it's pretty flat after that, from down to Josh Allen, 11%, and then all the way down to Kirk at 6%. At running backs, so running back is a little tricky this week. There's no top plays that really stand out. So we got Josh Jacobs is the top projected chalk running back, Dameon Pierce, Saquon Barkley, Joe Mixon, and David Montgomery rounding out the 5th spot at 16%. Wide receiver, top 5, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Stephon Diggs, Terry McLaurin, Justin Jefferson, and Cortland Sutton. That's 6th spot. Tight end, another Bronco, Greg Dulcich, number 1, Dalton Schultz, number 2, Pat Frymer, 3, Higbee, 4, and Kyle Pitts, 5. As far as defense, Saints, Steelers, Texans, Bengals, and Washington Commanders. So that's going to be the chalk plays for the week. Where I'm looking in cash this week, I prefer Josh Allen over Justin Fields. It's just a matter of really the running back situation. If I'm going to be playing Fields, I'm probably not playing Montgomery. I think Montgomery plays well this week. I think Fields has been running really hot, and he's probably going to be mega chalk. And with him priced all the way up, I just prefer Josh Allen this week in a great bounce back spot for them. So obviously going to have some Fields exposure as well in tournaments. But for me, in cash, Josh Allen, I like Dameon Pierce, David Montgomery, Stephon Diggs, Kendall Hinton, Ben Skowronek, Dawson Knox, CeeDee Lamb, and the Steelers D. So I do think it is a 3 wide receiver week. Putting a wide receiver in the flex, I like the studs of Diggs and Lamb with Josh Allen, Dameon Pierce, and David Montgomery. So that is where I'm going to be going in cash games this week. As far as tournaments, so I'm looking to get a little different in like large field GPPs. I'm not playing Justin Fields in large field GPPs. I'd be playing him more in smaller tournaments. I'm trying to get off that chalk. It seems very chasey to me, regardless of him having a really high floor. A lot of his ceiling this past few weeks has just been off of the long touchdown runs, and we can't predict that every game. So if there's a scenario that he fills, that's the most likely one. He does not have a large touchdown run. So a couple quarterbacks I would be looking to play in my Millie Maker build as opposed to Justin Fields would be I like Joe Burrow and Dak Prescott both this week. I think with Burrow, you can stack him with Higgins. You can stack him with Tyler Boyd. Dak, you have a lot of different stacking options, obviously, with Lamb. But, both of these quarterbacks are +2 type quarterbacks. So with Dak, I would say Lamb. You can also stack him with Gallup, with Schultz, Noah Brown, if you want to get a little weird with it. So I like both of those guys. As far as tournaments that I would be eyeing for that GPP build, I like Jonathan Taylor. And I probably would put David Montgomery in that lineup too, just as direct leverage off of Justin Fields' chalk. So Jonathan Taylor, he's priced reasonably. He's 7,800. We know they want to run the ball with Jeff Saturday taking over. Mr. Run, we need to run the ball more, yelling at Peyton Manning. We need to run the ball more. And Peyton, I'm calling the effing plays. All right. Well, Jeff Saturday is calling the plays now. So I think Jonathan Taylor is a good play. 22 attempts last week going against Philly. If there's an area where they're weak, it's against the run. I like Damian Pierce in cash, not in tournaments. Another place I would go is Cordarrelle Patterson. I do think he has some upside if no one's going to be on him. He's projected is low owned. Let me look over for the domination station and see what his ownership is. From what I saw, 4%. So really low. Like him, he would be a good GPP play for me. And then last, as far as running back, another running back that I would be all in on would be, I think he played either both Antonio Gibson or Brian Robinson. They are both in smash spots this week, going against Houston's last ranked run defense. I think you got to get exposure to both of them. If you're MME and the Millie Maker, certainly would have heavy exposure to both of these guys. As far as wide receivers, obviously we mentioned the stacking pieces. Some of the other chalk pieces that I would like, Stephon Diggs, if you can get there money-wise, 8,300. If you're not stacking him with Josh Allen, it's much easier to do. Amon-Ra, great play as well. Some more leverage plays, some lower owned guys that could really hit value this week. I think both Garrett Wilson and Van Jefferson, they're going to be cheap, and they really don't need to do a whole lot to get there, as we've already seen with Garrett Wilson this year. I think it could be a 2 tight end in the flex week, definitely for large field GPPs like the Millie Maker. So playing like a Mark Andrews as a in the flex, but maybe in your Dak, for example, your Dak stacks, you do Dak, Gallup, Schultz, for example, and then you could put a Mark Andrews in the flex. You could afford Mark Andrews. Also, TJ Hawkinson, I love him this week. Both in Dak stacks, you can do him as a bring back, which I think TJ Hawkinson and Dalton Schultz, I wouldn't be opposed to that in the same game. And that's probably going to do it for me there at tight end. And we also kind of want to avoid some of the chalk. So Mark Andrews is projected as lower owned, so I certainly like that. At tight end and at defense, we want to get off chalk. We want to get guys that are low owned, because that is specifically at those positions. Those are positions of high variance. So we want to get a little bit of exposure to everyone. If we can get a defense that's higher priced in a good matchup and low owned, I certainly love that. Bengals 3,400 going against Kenny Pickett. Patriots 3,700 going against Zach Wilson. So definitely some of the defenses that I will be looking to target. I like those, both of those defenses. And then the Saints going against Los Angeles Rams. No Cooper Kupp, and that offense has been horrible without him. So I definitely think you could go there. So that's going to do it for this week. Most likely we're going to have a Thanksgiving podcast special, just kind of looking at the 3-game slate for Thanksgiving. I will see you then. Good luck this week.
You're listening to the Fantasy Fling